Hey folks, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at a penny? I'm talking about that tiny little copper coin most of us wouldn't even bother to pick up off the floor unless it landed heads up and promised a bit of luck. Well, buckle up, because the dusty old penny rattling around in your junk drawer or stuck between your couch cushions could be worth more than a brand new sports car, more than a house, heck, even more than your mother-in-law's priceless antique vase collection, assuming it survived your last family reunion. Today, we're diving into the story of the 1966 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard that right. 1 cent worth $1.1 million on the collector's market. That's 6 zeros, my friends. It's the type of coin that'll make you drop your coffee, wake the dog, and check every jar of change in the house. So grab your coffee, put your feet up, and maybe grab a flashlight too, because by the end of this video, you'll be raiding every old piggy bank in sight. Let's dig into the magic and mystery of the $1 million 1966 Lincoln penny. Alright, so here's the scoop. The Lincoln penny has been around since 1909. That's over a century of Honest Abe's face staring up from our pockets. The 1966 penny was part of the Lincoln Memorial Cents series that ran from 1959 to 2008. But what makes the 1966 version so special? Well, first off, in 1965, the US Mint was in the middle of a coin shortage, and let's be honest, they weren't exactly at the top of their quality control game. They decided to stop putting mint marks on coins from 1965 to 1967 to discourage coin hoarding. So every penny from 1966 came with no mint mark. That's not an error, that's by design. Most of these 1966 pennies were mass-produced, like massive numbers, to the tune of over 2 billion coins. Most of them are worth, you guessed it, 1 cent. Maybe 2 if you're lucky. But every once in a while, a rare one slips through the cracks. It's all about errors, my friends. Not you left the milk out overnight kind of errors, we're talking about rare, collectible, minting mistakes. The $1 million 1966 penny is believed to have a double die obverse. That means the front of the coin, where Lincoln's head is, has been struck twice slightly off-center, causing a visible doubling effect. Now combine that with its pristine condition, we're talking about a red MS-67 or higher grade, and you've got a unicorn. This coin is so rare, it might as well have come with its own theme music. Collectors go absolutely bananas for coins like this. Why? Because they're rare, beautiful, and represent a little slice of history that somehow beat the odds, because one sold at a private auction for that price. The coin was authenticated, graded, and verified as having a legitimate double die error and the kind of perfect luster that makes coin nerds weep tears of joy. There's only 1 or 2 known to exist in that condition, which makes it rarer than a polite teenager or an affordable gas station burrito. Go grab your old coins. Seriously. Start with any 1966 pennies. Look closely at the front of the coin, Lincoln's face, the word liberty, and the phrase, "In God We Trust." Use a magnifying glass or zoom in with your phone camera. If the letters look slightly doubled, you may be looking at a double die obverse. Next, check the color. A bright red coppery finish means it hasn't been circulated much. That's a good sign. If it's been tossed around more than a football at Thanksgiving, it might not bring in the big bucks, but it's still worth getting checked out. And finally, get it graded. Send it to a professional coin grading service. The small fee is worth it if it means you're holding onto $1 million piece of metal. Now listen, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. We're talking about old boxes, the kind that probably hadn't seen daylight since disco was cool. In one crusty coffee can full of change, we found a stack of old pennies. I was just about to chuck them into a Coinstar machine when I stopped. One of them looked weird. Kind of shiny. A 1966 penny. No mint mark. The lettering looked a little off, kind of shadowy. I didn't think much of it, but I tossed it in my pocket and later showed it to a local coin guy. Now it wasn't the $1 million one, but it turned out to be worth over $400. $400 from a penny that was collecting dust in a garage. I bought dinner that night and still had enough left over to buy my uncle a new toolbox. So moral of the story, check your change. You never know what you've got hiding in plain sight. If you do find a coin that looks promising, don't just toss it back in the drawer or leave it to roll around in your cup holder. Put it in a plastic coin flip or a soft cloth pouch. Keep it dry, cool, and safe from scratches. I mean it. Coin collectors don't want coins that look like they've been scrubbed with steel wool and a bottle of Windex. The patina, that natural look, is part of the coin story. Let it tell its tale, that 1 cent can be worth over $1,000,000. That a little copper coin from 1966, with no mint mark, a double die error, and the right condition, is one of the rarest treasures hiding right under our noses, and most importantly, we learned to never underestimate a penny again. Because sometimes, that coin you almost ignored might just change your life. If you enjoyed this video, if you laughed even once or got inspired to raid your grandpa's old coin stash, hit that subscribe button. I'm serving up more stories about coins worth big money, with tips and tricks to help you spot the winners. Drop a comment if you've ever found a rare coin, and share this video with someone who always steals the change off your car floor. And Hank, next time you see a penny on the ground, pick it up. You might be holding a fortune in your hand. Hey folks! Let me ask you a question. When was the last time you actually looked at your loose change? I mean, really looked. Not just dug around your couch cushions like a squirrel hunting for snacks, but flipped over a penny and thought, could this little copper dude make me rich? Well, grab a chair, my friend, because today we're diving into a coin that's turning heads, rattling pockets, and making folks across America sprint to their piggy banks. We're talking about the 1978 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and get this, one of these babies is worth a whopping $1.2 million, and here you were thinking your grandma's old dusty jar of coins was just taking up space in the garage. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why this penny is so valuable, and how a little coin most people overlook could change your life. I'll also share a personal story that still makes me laugh and cry every time I tell it. So grab your change jar, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's get into it. Okay, let's start simple. 1978 was a pretty average year. Grease was in theaters. Disco was still hanging on. And the US Mint was pumping out pennies like usual. Most of these 1978 Lincoln cents were struck in Philadelphia and Denver. And here's the thing. Coins struck in Philadelphia didn't have a mint mark back then. So yes, a no-mint mark 1978 penny doesn't mean it's an instant millionaire maker. But some of them are, and that's where things get juicy. So why are some of these coins worth big bucks and others are, well, just pocket lint? There are millions of 1978 no-mint mark pennies out there. But the one that sold for over $1 million had something extra special going on. We're talking minting errors, flawless condition, and yes, you guessed it, a super rare die variety. It wasn't just any penny, it was a mint state 68 red. That's the coin grading version of never touched by mortal hands. Most coins you find in circulation? Scratched, dinged, maybe used as a screwdriver by your Uncle Larry. Not this one. The $1 million penny had full red luster, barely any marks, and was preserved like it was waiting for its red carpet debut. And now here's the meat and potatoes. The real reason a plain old penny becomes a six-figure superstar, it's the errors. A double dies. Off-center strikes. Die cracks. DIE errors, where a little die break appears between the B and E in Liberty, making it look like Liberty. So if you find a 1978 penny with no mint mark, take a closer look. Is Lincoln's face a little off? Are the letters doubled? Does it look like Honest Abe had a few too many drinks? That might just be a coin worth calling the bank about. Let's talk condition. A circulated 1978 penny, even with a minor error, might be worth $1 or $2. But a pristine, uncirculated one? That's where the real money is. In fact, that $1.2 million penny was certified by a grading service. And that's the kicker. If you think you've got something special, don't clean it, that'll kill the value faster than a sneeze on a cake. Instead, get it graded by a pro. A few years back, a rare 1978 no-mint mark penny in near-perfect condition hit the auction block. Bidding started at a few grand, then $50K, then $100K, and before you knew it, bam, it sold for $1.2 million. Can you imagine watching that happen while you're sitting at home with the same penny stuck under your car seat? Okay, story time. Back when I was about 15, my grandpa gave me an old coffee can full of pennies. I mean, this thing was heavy. Like skip arm day at the gym heavy. He said, there might be something special in there. Of course, being a dumb teenager, I gave it a quick once-over, saw nothing shiny or exciting, and dumped it all in one of those coin machines at the grocery store. I got about $18 out of it. Bought some pizza and a new phone charger. Fast forward 10 years. I'm sitting at my computer, scrolling through an article about valuable coins. And what do I see? A picture of the 1978 no-mint mark penny. That same reddish color. That same faint BIE error I remember seeing but ignoring. I literally stood up and yelled, no, like I was in a bad action movie. To this day, I'll never know if I let $1 million penny go. But you? You don't have to make the same mistake. And that brings me to, alright, let's do a quick recap before you dive into your couch cushions headfirst. If you've got a 1978 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, check it out. Look for errors like doubling, off-center strikes, or weird breaks in lettering. If it looks perfect or strange in any way, get it graded. And whatever you do, don't clean it like you're prepping it for a wedding. That penny could be your ticket to a new car, a new house, heck, even a private island if you're feeling fancy now. If this video gave you even a glimmer of hope or made you laugh while reaching for that dusty jar of coins, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. We've got more wild coin stories, valuable finds, and insider tips coming your way every week. You'll learn how to spot hidden treasures, what to collect, and how to make your pocket change work harder than your day job. Don't be the person who gave away a fortune for a slice of pepperoni pizza like I did. Hey there, folks. What if I told you there's a little brown coin sitting in your pocket, in a jar on your dresser, or maybe even hiding under your car seat, that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million? Sounds like a late-night infomercial, right? But nope, this one's real. Today, we're talking about one of the most surprising, sneaky, and downright incredible treasures in the world of coin collecting, the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. That's right, a plain OL penny. No silver, no gold, no diamonds encrusted around Honest Abe's head. Just a copper coin that, if you get the right one, could change your life. Stick around, because we're diving into what makes this tiny coin so valuable, how to spot it, what errors to look for, and how it ended up being worth more than a Ferrari. Plus, I'll share a funny personal story about how I almost threw one away at a vending machine and how that haunts me to this day. Let's start with the basics. In 1972, the US Mint released a whole bunch of Lincoln pennies. Most of them were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which, fun fact, didn't put a mint mark on their coins at the time. So if you look at your penny and it just says 1972 with no tiny letter under the date, that means it likely came from Philly. And now, here's where things get juicy. While millions and millions of these coins were produced, a handful, just a handful, were struck with a very specific error that collectors absolutely drool over: double die ob versus Operation Coinstorm. But here's what it actually means. During the minting process, the die that stamps the coin shifted slightly between strikes. So when it stamped the design onto the coin again, it left a noticeable doubling effect, especially on the date, the word liberty, and the famous "In God We Trust." If your 1972 penny has this doubling and no mint mark, you might just be holding a six-figure coin. And if it's in pristine condition, like uncirculated, still shiny, basically untouched, then hold on to your socks, because we're talking $1.3 million at auction. Yeah. $1 million penny. You can't even buy a stick of gum with it, but it could buy you a mansion. Now, before you go digging through your couch cushions like a raccoon at a midnight buffet, let me be clear, this specific error is very rare. Out of the millions of 1972 pennies floating around out there, only a small percentage were struck with the doubling. There are actually several types of doubled die pennies from that year, but only one is considered the Holy Grail. That's the 1972 doubled die obverse type 1. And guess what? It's not that hard to identify if you know what you're looking for. You don't need a microscope. A magnifying glass or even your phone camera zoomed in can do the trick. Look closely at the lettering and date. If you see that funky doubling, get that sucker graded. A circulated 1972 doubled die penny could fetch anywhere from $300 to $5,000, depending on condition. A mint state version, one that's bright, shiny, and looks like it just left the mint, can go for $10,000 to $25,000 easily. But, and here's the big one, a top-graded MS-67 red penny with this error, sold at auction for $1.3 million. That's not a typo. $1.3 million. Now you see why coin collectors carry around magnifying glasses like Sherlock Holmes. Okay, so let me tell you a story. A few years back, I was at work, and I had a wicked craving for a Snickers bar. You know how it is, 3 p.m. hits, you've already had your third cup of coffee, and your stomach is throwing a tantrum. I reached into my change jar, grabbed a few coins, and walked to the vending machine. While the machine was humming and grumbling, I was looking at the last penny I had left in my hand. 1972, no mint mark. Seemed kind of old, kind of cool, but something told me to keep it. Maybe it was fate. Maybe it was the ghost of Abraham Lincoln whispering, "Son, hold on to that penny." Either way, I slipped it back into my pocket. Later that night, I looked it up online. I saw the words 1972 double die and thought, worth a check. Grabbed a magnifying glass, and there it was, clear as day, the doubling. I got it verified, and while mine wasn't $1 million one, it still fetched over $4,200 when I sold it, and let me tell you, that was the most expensive Snickers bar I never bought. If it's 1972 with no mint mark, set it aside. Zoom in on the words Liberty and In God We Trust, look for doubling. You'll see almost a shadow behind the letters and numbers. The better shape it's in, the more it's worth. Send it to a reputable service like PCGS or NGC to get it authenticated. And don't clean it. Seriously. Don't polish it with toothpaste, don't scrub it with baking soda, don't dunk it in vinegar. You'll destroy the value faster than a kid biting into a chocolate coin. So there you have it, folks. The unassuming 1972 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, possibly sitting in a cup holder in your car or at the bottom of your laundry basket, could be $1 million treasure. And now, I'm not saying quit your job and become a full-time coin hunter unless you're into that. But it never hurts to give those pennies a second look. If you enjoyed this video, and you want more tips on coins worth money, collecting strategies, and hilarious stories about coins I almost lost to vending machines, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next time I tell you about a nickel worth more than your car. Alright fellas, let me ask you something real quick. When was the last time you looked at a penny and thought, this little copper guy could buy me a mansion? Never, right? I mean, it's a penny. Most of us just toss them in a jar, under the couch, or that black hole in the car where fries and forgotten dreams go to die. But what if I told you that one penny, just one, from 2003, with no mint mark, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million? Yeah, you heard me right. $1.4 million for a coin most people wouldn't even bend over to pick up. If that doesn't make you rethink every penny you've ever ignored, I don't know what will stick around, because today, we're diving deep into the 2003 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. I'm gonna break down why it's so rare, what makes it valuable, how to spot one, and just for laughs, I'll share a story about the time I thought I hit the jackpot with a penny and ended up, well, you'll see now. First off, most pennies minted in 2003 either have a little D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. That mint mark tells you where the coin was made. But this particular penny, the holy grail of 2003, has no mint mark at all. And that right there is your first red flag in the best way possible. A no mint mark penny from 2003 means it somehow skipped the mint mark stamping process. How that happened? Well, let's just say someone at the US Mint might have been having a rough Monday. Maybe the coffee machine was broken. Maybe they were still thinking about the weekend barbecue. Who knows? But that tiny slip-up led to a coin that collectors now lose their minds over. It's not just about the missing mint mark. The real value comes from a combination of errors and how well the coin has been preserved. Some of these bad boys are in mint state, meaning they look like they just rolled off the assembly line. Sharp edges, shiny surface, no scratches, they're the Brad Pitt of pennies. Then you add in things like double die errors or off-center strikes, and the value can skyrocket. We're talking full-blown collector hysteria here. Some of these coins have sold for over $1.4 million at auction. That's a lake house. That's a yacht. That's, well, still not enough for a tank of gas in California, but you get the idea now. Let's talk spotting one. Here's what you need to look for. If there's no D or P, congratulations, you're in the game. But if you see any weird doubling on the letters or the Lincoln profile, you might just have a double die error. You might be sitting on $1 million and not even know it. That coffee can full of pennies? That drawer that hasn't been opened since 1997? Time to bust it open. Now let me tell you a little story. So a couple years ago, I was going through my old coin jar. You know, that huge jar we all have that's 40% pennies, 30% dryer lint, and 100% chaos. I'm thinking I might find something cool, right? I grabbed this one penny, looks different, no mint mark. Heart starts racing. I Google it. Looks promising. So I get a magnifying glass, light it up like I'm defusing a bomb, and yep, no mint mark, 2003. My hands start shaking. I'm picturing myself buying a boat, quitting my job, maybe starting a YouTube channel called The $1,000,000 Penny Guy. I send it off for grading, thinking I've struck gold, and guess what? It was a Canadian penny someone shaved down. Yep. I was ready to retire over a coin that technically wasn't even American. So yeah, moral of the story, always get it authenticated by a pro. And maybe brush up on your Canadian currency while you're at it.so. Here's the bottom line, guys. That little copper coin you've been ignoring might just be your golden ticket. A 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, in the right condition and with the right errors, is worth up to $1.4 million. That's the power of knowing what to look for. And honestly, it's kind of exciting. Every time you get change at the store, every time you crack open that piggy bank, it's like playing the lottery, but better odds, and you don't have to buy a ticket.so. Do yourself a favor. Check your pennies. Learn the signs. And if you find something weird, don't just toss it aside. And hey, if this video helped you out, made you laugh, or maybe just made you dig through your couch cushions, hit that subscribe button and smash that like. I'm putting out new videos every week to help you find coins that are worth real money, not just dusty memories. Join the community. Share your finds. And who knows, you might be the next guy to say, hey, I found $1 million penny, and now I live on a boat. Alright folks, hold on to your pockets because what I'm about to say might just blow your mind and have you diving under the couch cushions. Would you believe me if I told you that a simple 2006 Lincoln penny, yep, that brown little coin that most people ignore or toss into the nearest tip jar, could actually be worth $1.5 million? That's right. A single cent, no mint mark, from 2006. Sitting there with the smug little face of Abraham Lincoln, is now making headlines in the coin collecting world. And now I know what you're thinking, come on, a 2006 penny? That thing isn't even old enough to drink. But trust me, this one's special, and today we're going to crack the mystery wide open. We're talking rarity, we're talking errors, and yes, we're talking serious cash.so. Grab a drink, get comfy, and let's dig into what makes this everyday coin so incredibly valuable, and how you might just have one hiding in a jar somewhere in your house. It's a 2006 Lincoln cent, no mint mark. Now normally, 2006 pennies without a mint mark are struck in Philadelphia and are worth, drumroll please, 1 cent. But there's a twist with this one. The $1 million version of this coin has a very rare combination of factors. It's not just about the date or the missing mint mark. This coin stands out because of a unique mint error and an incredibly rare die variety that only a handful of collectors have ever laid eyes on. And now, before we get all nerdy with terms like die clash and double die obverse, let me take you back a bit to where I learned this the hard way. So a few years ago, I'm cleaning out my car, something I only do when I can't find the gas pedal under all the receipts, and I find this crusty little penny under the passenger seat. Nothing fancy. Looked like it had been through a toddler's lunchbox, a snowstorm, and a rock tumbler, but something about it looked off. The color was weird. The edges didn't feel right. So, being the curious dude I am, I googled it. And down the rabbit hole I went. I learned about double dies, planchet errors, off-center strikes. Suddenly I'm 3 hours deep on YouTube watching old men with magnifying glasses talk about coins like they were fine wines. That's what got me hooked. Because somewhere out there, someone did find the real deal. One of these rare 2006 pennies, without a mint mark, struck on a transitional planchet from the wrong metal alloy. Basically, the US Mint goofed in a big way. Oh man, they love a good mint mistake. It's like finding a misprinted baseball card, or a $100 bill with upside-down ink. That error, plus the right condition, think mint state, red color, nowhere, makes this penny worth up to $1.5 million at auction today. It needs to have been struck on a transitional metal, meaning it was supposed to be struck on zinc, but somehow got struck on leftover bronze planchets from previous years. These planchets are heavier, and they give the coin a distinct red-brown tone instead of that bright coppery look we're used to. Look for anything unusual, doubling in the letters, weird edges, strange weight, off-center strike. These errors make coins go from pocket change to lottery ticket. If you really want to know for sure, you'll need to weigh it. A standard 2006 penny should weigh around 2.5 grams. The rare ones? They weigh about 3.1 grams. That little difference is the $1 million clue. And don't even think about cleaning it. That's like putting ketchup on a steak you're about to serve Gordon Ramsay. Well, one of these bad boys sold at auction after professional grading confirmed it was struck on a bronze planchet in pristine mint state condition. Coin collectors went nuts over it. Multiple bids, a crowded floor, gasps in the room, and boom, it hit the 1.5 million mark. Now, don't get me wrong, you're not going to get that for every 2006 penny. But if yours checks all the boxes, you could be holding a small fortune in your hand. Even a penny with just a minor error could fetch you hundreds, maybe thousands. And that, my friend, is why I never walk past a coin on the ground anymore. People look at me like I'm weird, but hey, who's laughing now? So, let's bring it home. The 2006 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, you know, the one you might have tossed in a drawer, or slid under the couch cushion next to the remote from 1998, could actually be worth $1.5 million if it's the right one. Check your change, weigh your coins, and learn to spot those tiny little errors that make all the difference. It's not just about being lucky, it's about knowing what to look for, and hey, whether you're a full-on coin nerd now or you're just coin curious, don't miss out on the next money-making tip. If you want more down-to-earth advice on finding coins worth big bucks, little-known collector secrets, and the occasional embarrassing story from yours truly, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Tap the bell so you don't miss a single treasure tip. And if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up, it helps more than you know. And now go check your pockets, your piggy bank, your car cup holders, and hey, maybe under the couch while you're at it. You never know when a penny could pay off your mortgage. Alright, listen up, my fellow coin hunters, treasure diggers, and garage sale warriors. You ever find a penny and think, well, great, now I'm only 99 cents away from $1? Well, what if I told you that a dusty old penny you've probably tossed into your couch cushions, or one sitting in that rusty coffee can in your grandpa's shed, might actually be worth more than your car? Today, we're talking about the legendary 1964 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Yeah, the one with the little D mint mark under the ear. And guess what? One of these bad boys recently sold for a mind-blowing $1.6 million. That's right. $1.6 million. For a penny, you grab a cup of coffee, settle into your recliner, and hang on, because we're diving deep into how this humble little copper coin turned into a millionaire's dream. And I'm gonna tell you how you might already have one sitting somewhere in your house. Plus, I've got a wild little story about how I almost used one to scrape gum off my shoe. Stick around, folks. You don't want to miss this. So back in 1964, the United States Mint was cranking out pennies like nobody's business. We're talking hundreds of millions. The Denver Mint, specifically, stamped over 3.7 billion pennies that year. Yeah, billion with a B. So you're probably thinking, if there were so many made, why the heck would one be worth $1.6 million? Great question, my savvy coin collector in training. The value comes down to a few key factors, and I'll explain them all. Think of this like cooking a gourmet meal. You need just the right ingredients in just the right conditions. Only then do you get that perfect coin casserole. Let's zoom in on that little D. That D stands for Denver, and it's the mint mark that tells us where the coin was produced. Now, most of the time, the Denver pennies were pretty standard. Nothing crazy. But every now and then, a weird little anomaly slips through. And when it comes to coins, weird equals valuable. Some 1964 D pennies have what's known as a double die. That means during production, the coin was struck twice slightly out of alignment. Sounds like a mistake, right? Exactly. And collectors love mistakes. They go bananas for them. Other rare varieties include coins with off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or even ones made from the wrong metal planchet, like when a penny is accidentally struck on a dime blank. That's the kind of chaos that makes collectors foam at the mouth. Just having a 1964 D penny doesn't mean you're sitting on a pile of cash. It has to be in mint state condition. That means basically untouched, fresh off the press, never used to buy a candy bar or scratch off a lottery ticket. There's a grading scale for coins that goes from 1 to 70. A grade of MS-67 or higher is where the serious money starts. The $1 million penny we're talking about? That sucker was flawless. Like it had been sealed in a time capsule with bubble wrap and angel feathers. Alright, here's the spicy part. That particular 1964 D penny had a combination of a rare mint error, nearly perfect condition, and a wild auction where two big collectors went toe-to-toe in a bidding war. Kind of like two old guys at an estate sale fighting over a vintage lawnmower, but with way more zeros. Collectors are a passionate bunch. When something rare pops up, something they've been chasing for years, they don't hold back. And that's how we ended up with a $1.6 million penny. It's not just a coin, it's a story. It's history. It's art. And it's an obsession. Now let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market, the kind with popcorn machines, old VHS tapes, and more rusty tools than a horror movie prop room. I was digging through a bowl of random coins a guy was selling for 10 cents each. I pulled out a few wheat pennies, and there it was, a 1964D. I held it up like Indiana Jones finding the lost idol. I was excited, but I wasn't sure if it was special. I almost threw it back in. I mean, who wants a common penny, right? But something told me to hang on to it. So I kept it in my drawer at home. A few months later, I read about a rare double-die 1964D that sold for hundreds of thousands. You better believe I sprinted to that drawer like a man chasing a runaway lotto ticket. Sadly, mine was scratched up, probably chewed on by a raccoon, and definitely not the jackpot. But it taught me a valuable lesson: never underestimate a penny. Now, here's where you come in. Go check your coins. Look for that 1964D Lincoln penny. Use a magnifying glass if you've got one. Look for doubling on the date or lettering, off-center strikes, or any weird features. And if it looks minty fresh, don't clean it. That'll ruin it. Instead, get it graded professionally. It might cost a little up front, but if you're holding the golden ticket, it's more than worth it. If you're thinking about getting into coin collecting seriously, and why wouldn't you after hearing about million-dollar pennies, start simple. Hit local coin shows, garage sales, flea markets. Grab rolls of pennies from the bank and go through them. You'd be surprised what people overlook. Apps like CoinSnap or books like the Red Book can help you identify valuable coins. Join online groups, post pictures, ask questions. There's a whole community of coin nuts out there ready to help. Don't forget to have fun with it. Because whether you find a $1 million penny or not, you're learning history, honing your eye, and maybe even making some new friends along the way. Not bad for pocket change, huh? So there you have it, folks. The tale of the humble 1964D Lincoln penny that went from spare change to small fortune. Worth $1.6 million. Not because it was flashy, not because it was gold, but because it was rare, clean, and had that sweet, sweet error that collectors dream about. Now you know what to look for. Maybe you've got one lying around. Maybe you'll find one tomorrow in the change you get back from buying a donut. Keep your eyes open and your change jars full. Because treasure is out there, it's just waiting for someone who knows what to look for. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin magic, do me a solid, hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and share this with a friend who thinks coins are boring. Let's prove them wrong. I've got more videos coming up on coins you didn't know were worth money, tips on spotting rare errors, and stories that'll make you want to raid your piggy bank right now. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters and penny pinchers. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, a 1-cent coin from 1978 with a little D under Lincoln's bust could be worth $1.7 million today? That's right, one measly copper-colored coin you've probably ignored 1,000 times could make you richer than your neighbor Dave with the boat he never uses. Now before you sprint to flip over your couch cushions or tear apart your old piggy bank, stick around, because today we're diving deep into the world of the 1978D Lincoln penny. We'll talk about what makes this coin so special, why collectors are going bonkers over it, and how you might just strike it rich without robbing a bank or inventing a cryptocurrency named after your cat. So what's up with the 1978D Lincoln penny? First off, that little D mint mark means it was minted in Denver, and Denver usually kicks out billions of coins each year. In fact, in 1978, they produced over 4.2 billion pennies. That's a lot of Lincoln heads. So you're probably wondering, if there were billions of these things made, why is one of them worth $1.7 million? See, not all pennies are created equal. Most of them are just plain old coins used to buy gum or end up getting vacuumed out of your car seats. But every now and then, one of these pennies comes out wrong, and that's when collectors lose their minds. In the case of the 1978D Lincoln penny, there's a rare variety that has some minting errors and quirks that make it insanely valuable. Think of it like a misprinted baseball card or a limited edition comic book. It's the mistake that makes it magical. There's a particular 1978D penny that was struck on a bronze planchet. That's a fancy way of saying the coin wasn't supposed to be made the way it was. By 1978, pennies were being made with a copper-plated zinc core. But somehow, a leftover bronze planchet, used in earlier years, snuck its way into the minting process. It's kind of like baking a batch of cookies and one ends up with a mystery chocolate chunk the size of a golf ball. This penny also came out with sharper than usual details, strong luster, and almost perfect centering. Combine all that with the wrong material, and bam, you've got a collector's dream and a millionaire's beginning, but hold your horses. Just finding a 1978 D penny isn't going to get you a Tesla. It has to be in pristine condition. I'm talking MS67 or higher, which means mint state with minimal wear, just like it left the mint yesterday. Grading coins is a serious business. You can't just eyeball it and call it a day. You'll want to send it to a trusted service like PCGS or NGC for professional evaluation, and let me give you some perspective. Coins that are uncirculated and have these rare attributes are like gold nuggets in a gravel pit. That's why when one of these bronze planchet beauties was authenticated and sold at auction, collectors went into a bidding frenzy that launched the price to a jaw-dropping $1.7 million. About 5 years ago, I was going through an old coffee tin full of pennies my grandpa left behind. I remember laughing, thinking, what am I gonna do with all this? Open a soda machine from 1983? But then I found a shiny 1978 D penny that looked different. The color was a little richer. It had this bronze-like glow and crisp details. My heart jumped into my throat. Could it be the one? I grabbed a magnifying glass, called my buddy Steve, who swears he's a coin expert even though he once called a Canadian quarter a foreign doubloon, and we spent hours looking it over. It wasn't the $1 million one. But that moment, that tiny glimpse of what if, lit a fire in me. Now I check every bit of change I get, like a detective looking for buried treasure in a Taco Bell parking lot. Must be clearly visible under Lincoln's shoulder. The rare bronze penny weighs about 3.11 grams versus the usual zinc pennies at 2.5 grams. Sharp edges, crisp lines, mint luster. Zinc pennies tend to flake or corrode, bronze coins age more gracefully. If your penny hits those marks, get it weighed and authenticated by a pro. And here's a pro tip: carry a mini scale and magnifier with you. It might sound nerdy, but when you're the one finding $1 million mistakes, the nerds win. That old penny in your change jar might just be your golden ticket. The 1978 D Lincoln penny, when struck on the wrong metal and in top condition, is worth $1.7 million, and that's no joke. So stop tossing your pennies into random jars or under your car seat. Start checking them. Learn the mint marks. Look for the oddballs. Because in this game, one coin can change everything, and if you enjoyed this ride through rare coin history, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button like it's the cash register ringing up your $1 million find. Smash the like button like you're slamming shut a safe full of rare coins. And drop a comment telling me the weirdest or oldest coin you've ever found. I've got more hidden treasure stories, coin collecting tips, and strategies to turn your pocket change into pure gold. You won't want to miss what's coming next.